What's up, guys? Welcome to SoCal Fishing Forecast for Thursday, October 22nd. Just got off the boat Monday morning from an absolutely dynamite epic trip to the Outer Banks. We hit Cortez, we hit Tanner, and managed to find some jumbos. Quite a trip. You can check out our report video covering everything that we saw on the channel. And let's get into this week's forecast. Currently, cooler weather has been prevailing over the week. We got a little bit of chance of rain on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So be on the lookout, but I particularly want to point you in the direction of these north-northeast winds that I'm going to be concerned about. So it's too far to really call exactly what's going to happen, so I want you to keep a close eye on what is happening if you decide to head out. But we got this current eddy flow here on Thursday, and this continues into Friday as well. I want you to know we do have very nice light winds out here on the Outer Banks, and this is going to be a primary area of focus here. As it continues into Friday, Saturday also looking pretty solid. And then as we move into Sunday, we get a little bit change in weather pattern here. And we have some bigger and larger winds out here on the west. And so definitely turn a lot more westerly direction. Pretty heavy, pretty strong. And then we're going to switch right into a Santa Ana condition. Looks to be a pretty heavy one. So although the weather channels aren't really calling for it, let's be watching this model. It certainly could get nasty. So you don't want to be caught out there in something like that in a smaller private boat. So keep that in mind. That's what the wind's doing. Let's take a look at the charts. We're going to go with the 8-day chart here on sea temps. So as we've been talking about, we'll start off with Catalina. Pretty much same show. There's been a couple of yellows around, still a ton of bonito. So if you're looking to do some slow trolling to isolate those yellows, I would recommend slow trolling some mackerel over the sardines so you aren't constantly annoyed with the peckering of bonito. That being said, there has also been a couple of sea bass moving back into the island a little early here. Usually don't come quite in October, but they've been moving into those typical places where you would find squid. No one has seen squid at the island yet. The carnage has not been there, and they will not be back for a foreseeable time until there is a plethora of squid for them to catch to sell to you. So don't count on squid, but maybe bring some frozen if you're trying to isolate the sea bass. But so far the numbers are small. But this is going to be a La Nina year since we've been talking about it, and that should be helping the sea bass return to Catalina for sure. Let's talk about offshore. We're going to talk about Tanner Bank, Cortez Bank, and this temp break that we've been having for pretty much the last month, and it's been holding steady. And when I tell you guys, the reason why we look at these charts is not only to find the temp breaks, but you can line up those temp breaks along on the chlorophyll chart. You usually see an edge here as well. So where there's bait in the green and you still have some nice clear blue water, and you got a temp break there, which is also affected with the chlorophyll. It's the 3-day. Go back to 8-day. 8-day, give me 8 days. 8-day chart. You can see why the bluefin are hanging out here, right? They don't like this warmer 74-degree water anyway. They want to be right in the zone. 72 degrees is kind of the threshold of where you typically will find bluefin abandon the water. There's no such thing as never. There's always some weird thing that happens in nature you can't explain. But more than likely, chances are you're going to find these bluefin right here on the edge of this line. Now, over the last few days, and also experienced this on my trip, bluefin fishing, we start off at Tanner. On the bank itself, in the shallow spots, was the smaller grade bluefin. Now they were line shy. I'll give you an idea of what we're talking about here, but this area is much shallower than the rest of it, just so you can tell what I'm talking about. So when we say proper, we're talking about on the high spot. So fishing Tanner proper on the high spot, there was smaller gray bluefin from 20 to 40 pounds. We saw both sizes. I'd say the larger ones were 1 in 8 would be a fair assessment of what was there. Getting back to the bank, there was some yellowtail there also. The yellowtail weren't as line shy. You definitely want to be fishing 20 pound for the bluefin on the Tanner, or at least for the schoolie size fish, and a small hook. I'd say a 1/0 or a number 2 would get it done. That's what worked best for us. The yellowtail were not as line shy. I got a couple on 30 pound. Fly line baits as well. Worked just fine. But I would try and fish on 20 pound if possible. I think you're going to get bit a lot more often. And I started on 30. I got a yellow right out of the gate and then didn't get bit for a while. So I switched back down to 20 and things came right back to life. So make sure you got a 20 pound setup, a 30 pound setup if you're going to be on a day and a half out at Tanner at the minimum. You'll hear about more on our trip, but off Tanner Bank on the southeast side, and you'll see what I'm talking about here again. Off the proper portion where this drops off, get into much deeper water. I mean, there's no real depth per se, but we started about halfway between Tanner and Cortez, and that's where we got hooked on the jumbos. And we drifted 8 miles from about the midpoint almost to the shallows of Cortez. And there was bluefin all in this zone. They're not in wolf packs. They were spread out, and it seemed pretty conducive to the bite. And they're really aggressive. This was on Sunday. So it seems like from the reports that I'm seeing, not much has changed. It's pretty much steady go. I think the day we were there, we got into a much crazier wide open bite. Jeff on the Thunderbird had like 34 fish over 100 on a 2-day trip. So, I mean, the gear it takes you to land those fish and get them on deck, that tells you something. We went 6 for 8, popped one on the gaff against the boat, right at the gaff, and then I got spooled or almost spooled and broke it off on 100 pound. So they're out there. Cortez Bank, there's been talks of the yellowtail bite there and bluefin bite. We didn't see any bluefin bite there at all. No schoolies. There's a ton of bonito on top and some bluefin allegedly around. Never saw them. The yellows, excellent grade, 25 to 30 pound. They're down deep, so you want to fish a dropper loop, probably with a heavier weight. And they also bit the yo-yo. So I got one on yo-yo and one on the fly line. They bit both, but they're pretty deep. But like I say, you're gonna have to shake off 10 bonito to get a yellow. So make sure you're trying to work those deeper depths. Going back to our chart. Come on, work with me. The other zone we're gonna be talking about 302, 371, 425. There has been some fish as far down as the 390. Didn't seem like it was just a couple. It's kind of like a head fake that came down and it kind of pieced out. So this zone is primarily going to be yellowfin, yellowtail, dorado, possibly skipjack, kelp patty fishing. This is going to be where your probably overnight boats are going to be. Your maybe full day boats are going to be. You're not going to Tanner or Cortez unless you're on a day and a half. I mean, if they're crazy and they do an overnight, you're going to fish for 4 hours at the most before you drive home. 85-mile run to 22nd Street or to San Diego. So keep that in mind. This fishing has been pretty good. There's been a lot of private boats on it, so spread out, find your own stuff, and you have to put some work in. I would definitely consider trolling. That way you can try and help bring the fish to you in those instances. But overall, I mean, these are really the only two zones that are constantly working right now. Is that no real reports from San Clemente. Everyone is like, whoop, no one cares what's going on at the island. There's jumbos at Cortez, and the weather's good. So, that's that October season when the weather's good and the wind slows down out on the outside channels. That's where people are going to fish to try and get a look at those spots. So that's pretty much it for this week, guys. Like I said, keep a good look on that wind chart. Things could get crazy. Like I said, next week looks good, but I mean, it's really too far out to really know anything. But this concerns me, and it's not even on the marine forecast yet for Monday. So keep a close look at it, but nothing on the forecast right now. It looks nautical, but this wind to me could be nasty. We'll just see what happens, but keep an eye out. Be safe on the water, and if you want to give us a follow, a like, you can follow us on Instagram as well, Chasing Pelagics. We're there trying to drop the latest info we got on what's going on in the fishing world in Southern California. We'll see you next week. Cheers.